If you're new to growing mushrooms, you're probably overestimating how much gear you actually need and underestimating which pieces actually matter. If I had to start over today, this is the exact gear I would buy and a lot of the stuff I would skip. I'm going to break this video down into three sections. Section 1, if you're gonna buy nothing else, at least buy these. Section 2, this gear isn't essential, but it's going to expand your mushroom growing capabilities and probably save you some heartache. And Section 3, this is going to be the quality of life improvement kind of stuff for people who get pretty serious about the hobby and know that they want to stick with it for an extended period of time. If you understand everything in Section 1, you're already going to have enough to grow mushrooms successfully. Everything listed after that is just going to make life easier. Section 1, the essentials. These are the supplies I consider non-negotiable if you want consistent success. The first item on our list is a still air box. I've mentioned it before, but this was the single biggest turning point in my whole mushroom growing process. The goal here isn't to create this isolated, sterile environment, as nice as that would be. The real goal of a still air box is to reduce the movement of air, hence the name still air box. Contaminants are constantly floating in the air around us, and if we can reduce the movement of those contaminants so they're not floating onto our syringe or our injection port, then we can vastly improve our chances of success. And you don't really need anything fancy here. I bought mine for 30 bucks and it's lasted me the last couple of years. You can make one of these yourself by flipping a plastic tote upside down and cutting a couple holes into it. It doesn't really have to be much. We really just want to reduce the movement of air around our workspace. Without a still air box, you might get lucky once or twice, but it's not really a matter of if you'll get contamination, but when. So with the still air box controlling the air around our mushroom growing supplies, the next thing we need to clean is the surfaces, which means the next item on the list is 70% isopropyl alcohol, preferably in a spray bottle. Sanitation is everything in the mushroom growing world, and believe it or not, 70% isopropyl actually cleans better than higher concentrations of alcohol. The reason for that is the 70% isopropyl alcohol takes longer to evaporate, thus it remains on the surface longer, killing all those bad contaminants that want to ruin our mushroom grow. If you mess up on sanitation or skip it, you're not going to find out until a few weeks down the road when you're expecting to see white mycelium grow through your bag or your jars, and all you see is some blues and greens or grays or reds or anything but nice white mycelium. You should spray alcohol on the surface you're working on the injection ports, on anything you're handling like a syringe, and last but not least, be sure to spray it on your gloves. Which brings me to the next item on the list. You guessed it, gloves. Gloves create a clean, consistent barrier between you and your work. They're super cheap, simple, and ridiculously effective. Contaminants can hide all over our hands, under fingernails, on pores. No matter how well we think we clean them, odds are there's still going to be some on there. Gloves provide us a smooth, easily cleanable barrier between our dirty hands and our pristine mushroom growing supplies. And it's so much easier to get these gloves clean and ready for use versus trying to get your hands all spit spot. Do people still say spit spot? Anyway, skipping gloves isn't necessarily going to doom your mushroom grow, but it does create inconsistency in the process, and that inconsistency is largely what prevents repeatable results. So let's control all the variables that we can and just wear gloves. Coming in at number 4 on the list is pressure cookers.
Oh yeah.
You can get away with using all-in-one grow bags or pre-sterilized bags like Uncle Ben's rice, and so I was sort of unsure about whether or not I should include this on the essentials list. But if you ever want to get into making your own spawn, liquid culture, substrates, or anything like that, a pressure cooker is non-negotiable. I use mine in every single mushroom grow that I do. Pressure cookers allow us to sterilize everything, so the only things growing inside of our jars or bags is our mycelium. If you're holding off on purchasing a pressure cooker because you're using pre-made bags, I totally get it. That's how I started too. But Not using a pressure cooker for anything that you're making yourself at home is just asking for contamination. By the way, everything that I'm discussing in the video today is going to be linked in the description down below. So go check it out if you want, or don't. Section 2. Section 2 is for the supplies that won't necessarily increase your yields, but they're going to save you some heartache and expand your capabilities as a mushroom grower. First up on the list here is a dehydrator. Fresh mushrooms can last you for days. Dried mushrooms can last you for years. If you're growing mushrooms for their medicinal benefits like I am, a dehydrator is an absolute necessity. For long-term storage, moisture removal is critical. A dehydrator gives you the capability to store mushrooms whole, to grind them up into a powder and put them in capsules, to make them into a tincture, all without worrying about mold or bacteria creeping back in later. The only reason I didn't put a dehydrator in the first section is because I know some people are growing mushrooms just to eat them fresh right on the spot, which is great too. And it's technically not really required to grow mushrooms, it's more required to store them long term. So that's why I included it in section 2. You work so hard to grow your mushrooms, don't let them get ruined here. My very first successful mushroom grow, I had failure after failure. Finally, I had this great yield. I dried them, I threw them all into a jar, and I checked them a couple weeks later, and they had all rotted. Oh boy, was it heartbreaking. I didn't dehydrate them properly or enough. I was afraid of over dehydrating them and damaging them, which, you know, I learned down the road that you can't really even over dehydrate them, assuming you're using a safe temperature. But I lost a lot of mushrooms. I gained some frustration, and I learned a very valuable lesson. Learn to use that dehydrator if you're not going to use your mushrooms right away. The next item on the list is some premium jar lids. You can make do with metal lids with some micropore tape and some high temperature silicone, but tape gets wet, metal lids rust, and the silicone is going to get punched out and fall into your jar. I made some improved lids using a premium plastic lid to avoid rust, a PTFE filter so the air filter can't get wet, and rubber injection ports so I'm not having chunks of silicone drop down into my jars. These improved jar lids give me so much more confidence with liquid culture and just the aging of different mushroom supplies. It gives me the trust that I can handle these jars, and while I'm still careful, I don't have to be so worried about, like, if I tilt the jar too much and the tape gets wet, now my whole thing is ruined. I can be a little more fast and loose with it, so to speak. I made a whole video about how I designed these premium jar lids, so if you guys want to check that out, I'm going to link it down below as well. This is in section 2 because it's not really necessary. Cheaper lids won't automatically ruin your grow, but they will add stress and uncertainty. Next on the list is going to be monotubs. I didn't put monotubs in section 1 because all-in-one grow bags exist. So monotubs aren't really necessary, but if you want to be able to control things like humidity and air exchange, then monotubs are really where you get started with that. They're a cheap and effective way for dialing in fruiting conditions for your mushrooms. Without the ability to control humidity and airflow, you end up reacting to problems instead of controlling the grow. Moving on to section 3. This is a section for the people who are like, I freaking love mushroom growing and I'm going to invest in some stuff to improve my quality of life and make the process a little bit easier. As a beginner, these aren't things you need, but boy do they make life better. First up on the list is the laminar flow hood, and this is probably my favorite mushroom growing investment to date. These things work by blowing filtered air through your workspace, so I can kind of work out in the open so long as I'm in front of the laminar flow hood. It blows that filtered air such that any bacteria or contaminants falling down are just blown away and out of the area where I'm working. It's faster, cleaner, and way more convenient than a still air box. The amount of time that it would take me to set up my still air box just to do like a basic agar transfer was so painful and burdensome, where now I can just flip on my laminar flow hood, spray everything with alcohol, cut my slice out, transfer it, close the lid, and I'm done in minutes versus it taking 5 minutes just to set up my still air box and put everything inside of it. It's been huge for me in terms of saving time. A flow hood's not gonna make you any better at growing mushrooms, but the convenience factor is definitely real. Next is the automated fruiting chamber. This is like the next step up from a monotub. These things will sell for like $500, but I actually built one myself for a couple $100. I made a video about that, which I'll link below as well. These automatic fruiting chambers control humidity and fresh air exchange, so when my bags or monotubs are ready, I can just throw them in there and pretty much leave them be. Basically just set it and forget it. Compared to monotubs, where a couple times a day you have to take the lid off and fan them, you have to spray the walls to maintain that moisture and humidity, this is, once again, it's just a time saver and a quality of life improvement. The ability to set it and forget it is absolutely amazing, but you definitely don't need it, and you can get by just fine with your all-in-one bags or your monotubs. Those will just take a little bit more time and daily effort, but it's fine. Last part of section 3 is the autoclave. The autoclave is like an industrial grade, lab strength pressure cooker. It does the same job as a pressure cooker in that it uses heat and time to sterilize things, but it's way more precise, way more consistent, and can oftentimes do it at a much larger scale. That's why autoclaves are used in hospitals, labs, and mushroom farms. They're designed to process large volumes all day, every day. For DIY or like home growing mushrooms, that level of precision just really isn't necessary. A standard pressure cooker is already going to reach the temperatures that you need to sterilize everything you're going to be using. An autoclave isn't going to make your mushrooms grow any better. It's just going to allow the sterilization process to be a bit easier and more repeatable. If you don't have one, nothing breaks. Your process is going to work fine as is, which is exactly why it's in the nice to have but not needed section. Before I wrap this up, I just want to give a couple honorable mentions to things that I regularly use, but I didn't feel were big enough to really justify their own sort of section. Desiccant packs. I put these in my jars of dried mushrooms. They help absorb moisture and just aid that ability for long-term storage. Disposable scalpels are something that I regularly use for agar work. I use 10 milliliter syringes for all of my liquid culture work, and I use an impulse sealer on all of my grow bags. None of these items are really essential early on. They just become more useful the deeper you go. And that will conclude my list today. As a reminder, everything I talked about today is going to be linked in the description down below. I also created a master list of all the equipment I personally use on my website, and I'm going to link that below as well. I know. I said I'd link like 5,000 things down below. If you're just getting started and have any questions about gear, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, happy growing.